I'm going to do a video about the difference between universities in Japan and the universities back in Australia. I'm going to do a perspective on my university back in Australia and my host university, which is Meiji University in Japan. And there are quite a few differences based on how to attend classes, your assessments, and just university life in general. Starting with Japan. First, they have actually periods. So it's like high school where you have periods in a day. They have about at least 7 periods in a day. So they start at 9 o'clock in the morning and they don't finish until about 6 or 7 at night. Each class is an hour and a half and there is a lunch time. So particularly in my campus at Meiji University, lunch time is 12:10 to 1 o'clock. And they also go to university from Monday to Saturday, which is very unusual coming from an education from Australia. So this is very different with the structure of their periods, their classes, and their sort of lunch hour. They have a 10-minute break in between classes, so you can get to your next class on time with a 10-minute break in between each period. The Australian perspective. In Australia we have classes, at my university they have classes from 9 AM to about at least 8 or 9 at night. Each class, sort of like a lecture and a tutorial, is about generally 1 hour long. Depending on which subject you choose, it can range from 1 hour to 2 or 3, depending on what subject you choose, which school you belong to, all these different factors. And we usually don't go to university on weekends generally, unless if you're doing postgraduate degrees, which is a different story. So that's a major sort of difference where I only have to be in class for minimum 1 hour. I've had classes where they're 2 hours long, but they're more of a seminar class than anything. As well as we don't have a lunchtime, so if you have classes from 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 or 4 in the afternoon with no break, you do not have a lunch break sort of thing. You eat in between classes, or you rush into class, or you eat during class, which is perfectly normal. And I know that in Japan some teachers do not like you eating full stop in class, but they're more lenient if you have a class straight after lunch, because they do not have room in the cafeteria for you to eat. There's a long line. There's about 1,000 students or even more in your campus, so they're time lenient with the period after lunch, but other than that they don't like you eating, which is very strange coming from a university in Australia. As well, with clubs in Japan, they can train up to at least 4 times a week. Back in Australia, that isn't really the case, especially at my university, where you meet up at least once a week at the maximum, and it's not compulsory to attend. In Japan, it is compulsory for you to attend all the trainings, all the sessions, unless if you are in a circle, which is separate from the club, where there's no sort of strict guideline where you have to attend everything. You can attend at least one thing a week or be a supporter, and it's less stress than joining an actual club. But it was different for me because back in Australia, where I only have to attend like a meeting once a week for my clubs, or once or twice a semester, where in Japan, when I joined a club but I quit, it was 4 times a week of doing trainings. So I quit because I couldn't commit, and that's a difference of culture in Japan where they're more dedicated to their trainings, dedicated to their club, or in Australia that's not really the case. Hopefully you like the video about the difference between Australian universities and Japan universities. I know it's quite brief, but this is sort of a gist of it. Hopefully you like, subscribe and comment below about the difference between your home country and your host country universities if you are on exchange, and if you haven't been on exchange, what is the difference between your country and maybe the Australian or the Japanese universities, if you can think up. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!